Good evening, everyone. I'm Srividya, developer and project manager at SPECT. I'm here today to talk about the basics of API and the basics of Postman and how to write automated scripts using API. Why is API testing important? It's just to avoid the issues which can occur when we practically implement the API in your application. Just to avoid that, we do API testing. What is API? This application programming interface is an intermediary software which allows two applications to talk to each other. When you use a third-party service in your project communicates with that service through API. Say when you use an application in your mobile, it communicates with its server through API. And API also provides a layer of security. How? That is, when you use an application in your phone, the data will be never fully exposed to the server. In the same way, the server data will be never exposed fully to your phone. So the communication which happens between the phone and the server is that they'll share the small packets of data. That too only whatever is necessary for the communication to happen. Modern APIs are much more standardized because they follow the strong discipline for security, and they also monitor and manage for performance. Okay, and the most commonly used API architectures are, that is, representation state transfer, simple object access protocol, and remote procedural call. We'll see a simple example here. When a person goes to a restaurant, he'll place his order to the waiter at his table, where the waiter takes the request to the kitchen. Here, the waiter prays the API rule, where the waiter takes the request and gives it to the kitchen. In the same way, the API takes the request from the user and takes to the server and gives us the response back. This is the role of the API. What is Postman? Postman is a tool for interacting with web-based APIs, and Postman helps us to connect to that API, and it makes sure that the send and receive of the data is very easy. We'll do the first request to the API using Postman. Okay, this is the Postman, how it looks when you open. We'll go to my workspace. This is how it looks when you use the tool for the first time. Without knowing anything about the API, how will you do the testing? That's not possible. So what you have to do is, whenever a API provider gives you an API to implement that in your system, you will have to request for an API document so that we can understand what the API does and how it should be implemented in your system, and what are the methods or the requests and the responses what we get when we use the API. I'll just show you a sample API document what I have. Yeah, this is the API document. So these are a couple of APIs what I have with me. The first API, basically the API document will provide you why is this API created for, and it will give you the endpoint of the API and the method what should be used with that API. And it will also give you the details on what the request body should be sent with that API, and what the response what we will get with that API when you send the request, so that we can easily incorporate this API in our system. Okay, so basically in this API, in this document, we have got say around 4 APIs. The first API will give the authentication for the user to access the APIs, the other APIs, basically. Okay, and the second API will give you the details of the vehicle in that application. So what we'll do is, we'll do the first request. We'll do the first test for the API. Okay. What we'll do is we'll just simply copy the API from the document. We'll go to the Postman and place it in the URL. Okay. So this is the API, what we have got in the document. We'll go and check what is the method what they have used. This is the what method is the post method, and we have to send the request body, that is the username and the password, in the JSON format. So we'll go back to the Postman and we'll select the method. We have got so many methods here, so we'll select the post as a method. And there was one more condition given, that is the request body should contain the username and the password parameters in the JSON format. So for that, what we'll do is we'll go to body, we'll click on the raw, and we'll select the JSON format. And here you can write the parameters, what has to be sent. Okay, so this is what we have given. We'll go back to the document and once again check is it correct or not. Okay, this is the same format what we have used, username, password. Okay, so we are ready to send the request to the API. So we'll send the request. Okay, so we can see that we have received a status message, status code as 200, which means the request was successful. And you can also see that in the response window, we have generated the token which is required for authenticating the other APIs. Okay, and we'll create one more, we'll open one more tab and we'll go to the second API what we have. Copy, paste it, and it's a get method what we are using, and there is no any request body which we have to send, and there's only authentication which is required, that is the bearer token. So what we will use, what we will do is we'll use the token what we have created in the first API, and we'll place it in this API in the authorization tab, because we have to give the bearer token as an authentication to access this API. There's one more thing here, that is if our API endpoint is public, then we don't need this authentication. Okay, and if it is a private API, then they'll request for authentication. So we are good here. With we have placed the URL, API URL, and we have selected the get method. We have placed the authorization token. So we'll send the request. Okay. So again, we have got, we are successfully sent the request, and we have got 200 as a status code, and we can see the list of vehicles which was there in the application. This is how you test a simple API. There are two important features in the Postman which can be used when you're using your API. That is, one is the collection and the variables. Okay, so we can create a collection here. What is the use of a collection is, you can group the APIs related to one project or one application in one collection, so that whenever you come back, you can test all the APIs together. So that is why we use this API. That is why we use this collection. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll name this collection as vehicle. I have created this. Okay, and we'll close this. So what we'll do is we'll go back to this and we'll save this API, and we'll say that this API belongs to this vehicle project, so that whenever I come back, I can use, I can get all the APIs at the same place. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for this one, and the vehicle is selected. So I'll just save it. So now we can see that this collection has got the APIs which was related to this project. Okay. The one more thing is we can use variables in Postman. What is the use of the variable is when you store a value in that variable, it can be used in all the APIs, whatever you are using in your Postman. There are two types of variables which you can define. That is, one is a global variable and the local variables, which belongs to that particular collection. Okay, now I will create one local variable, that is to store this base URL, because this base URL is used in a lot of APIs. Okay, so what we'll do is either we can create by selecting here, by checking the set as a variable or set as new variable. There is one more way of creating a variable is go to collection and click on this variable tab, and here you can create your variable. So I'll name this variable as base URL. Okay, and I'll assign a value for that. That is the URL of the base URL of my APIs. Okay, so I'll give this initial value and the current value as that, and I'll save this. So now what I can do is I can use this and replace this here in this URL, so that whenever there is a change in the URL, you don't have to go and change it in each and every API. Okay, so you can just directly go to the variable list, and you can change the value here, so that you can perform the test for this API. Okay, so this is how the API, the simple API you can check. Okay, and this is how you create the collections, and you can use the variables. Let me close this. I have got one simple booking system API which I have created for the demo purpose. Let me quickly go through this API, what it does. This is the first API. That is, this API will give you, will tell you whether the API status is okay or not. So we'll send this request. We'll go to the next one. This will give you the list of books. Okay. Basically, this API status will give you the status of the API. This will give you the status of the API, whether it is functioning properly or not. And get list of books will give you the list of the books, whatever is present in the store. And this get single book API will give you the details of of one particular book. So for this, we'll have to send the book ID as a parameter, as a variable, so that you can get the details of that particular book. Okay, and the order book will, with this API, you can create an order so that you can order for that particular book. And here in this body, you have to send a book ID in the customer name to create the order. Okay, and get all orders will give you the details on all the orders what you have got. And get one order will give you the details on one particular order. Okay, and to get one particular details on the one particular order, you will have to pass an order ID as a parameter, because we need details on that particular order. and update order. So update order, if you want to update any order, again here you have to take the API and you have to pass the order ID as a parameter so that you can update that particular order. And delete order, here you can delete that order what you have created, or if you want to delete one particular order, you will have to pass that order ID as a parameter and you can delete that order. Okay. Okay. So here, what we'll do is, here I have used the base URL as a variable, and I have placed it is there in the variable list, so that whenever there is a change in the API, you can just go ahead and check that. Okay. And I'll show you to create a simple test in the simple test to check for a status, whether we have received status code 200 or not. When the request is successful, we'll write a simple test for that. Okay. Okay. See, right now, when I sent a request, we have got the status as okay, and we have got 200 as a status code. So how to check this? This is a very simple test what we can do, and the Postman provides a simple snippets, the ready to use snippets which can be used to do the steps. So what I'll do is I'll go to test tab here, and I'll just click on this snippet, which will give me the code to test whether I have received the status code 200 or not. Okay, so this is the language what we have used here is the JavaScript language, and the response what we are getting here is a JSON format string. Okay, so this is the JavaScript language, and this is okay. So once when we have written our test, what we'll do is we will send. So now in the response window, you cannot see any change here. So to check the result of this test what we have used, what we'll do is we'll go to the test result tab, and you can check here that the status code is 200. Okay, so this is how you can write simple tests here. For example, what if you have to use the value what you have received in the body, in the response of this API. So to do that, what we have to do is, first we have to get this response into a variable, and then we have to set the value for this variable. So for that, what we'll do is we'll define a variable as response. We'll use pm dot response dot JSON, because that's a JSON string. So this will basically give the response what we are receiving in the response body. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to write a test to check whether we are receiving this okay text in the response or not. So what we'll do is we'll write a simple PM test, that is like how we have written here in the PM test. We'll write the same test here. This will take two parameters. That is, first one is the name of the test. That is, the status should be okay. So what we'll do is, what we are checking is whether the status text what we have received in the response is okay or not. So I have given status should be okay is the name what I'm giving, and second is just call to action so that the test is performed. Okay, and I'm using this tag. This is the more this is the main way to use to write JavaScript instead of like this. Okay, you can use either of them. Both the things are same. It will perform, the execution thing is same. You can write your test in any of the ways. So next, what we'll do is we'll write a function that is what we are expecting. That is, we are expecting from the response what we are getting response dot status, whether this property is equals to okay or not. So this is the test what we are writing to check whether the response what we are getting here is okay or not. Okay, so now we will see what will be the response. So you can see here that the 2 of 2 tests what we have written is pass. The status should be okay. This is the name of the test what we had given. And the first test is a default test what we had used here. So this is how you can write your simple tests in your API when you're testing. So now what we will do is we'll quickly go and check this status code 200 in all our APIs what we have. Okay, so check. So here we're getting 200. So the test result is pass. The single book here we are ordering. We are getting details of one particular book. So we are sending the request. So we are getting the details of that particular book because we have sent the book ID as 3. So if we change the book ID, we will get the details of that particular book. And when you want to order a book, we'll just check whether the status code is 200 or not. Okay, order book. So here we are getting 404 not found errors. This is because I believe that book ID 1 is not there. So what I'll do is I'll just change it to 3 so that we'll create. See, yeah. So now the book order is created and we're getting 201 as a status message, which means successful. But the test what we have written is failed because we are testing for 200 as a status code. Okay, so if we change it to 201, then our test will be pass. Yeah, see here like this. So get all orders. We'll check this. The 200. Okay, so our test result is pass. Get one order. So what is the parameter what I'm sending? This is, we'll see. Yeah, again here, the order ID what I'm sending is not present. So what I've got is the 404 not found and even my test is failed. What we'll do is we'll get the list of all orders from the previous API. Well, I'll just copy one order ID here and paste it here so that we can get this result. Yeah, see, now we are able to see the details of that order and also our test result is pass. Okay, update the order. So again here we are updating the order. We'll send the request to check. Again here this ID is not found. So what we'll do is we'll go back to this and we'll just check take one order ID and update order body parameters. We are passing this ID here and we'll send the request. Yeah, the request is successful and we have got a status code as 204. Okay, and our test is failed because again we are here checking for 200, not for 204. What we'll do is we'll just change this test so that we'll get it. See, so now our test is passed. So for the delete order, we'll go and write a simple test. Check. Send. Yeah, 404 not found. Parameters. Okay, so again the test result is failed because we are checking for 200, and the success message was the success uh, status code what we receive here is 204 for delete method. Okay. Okay, so we have got 204, that is no content, that is we have successfully deleted that content, and the test result is also passed because we have got we have checked for the successful status code. Okay, this is how we test the API functionality, whether this is functioning or not. The most annoying thing here, the testing so many APIs, is copy and pasting the values here. So what we'll do is we'll pass this order ID dynamically. Okay, so how to do it is, when we are creating the order, we'll receive the order ID here. So what we'll do is we'll pass the response string what we are getting, and we'll take the value of this and place it in a variable, so that we can access that variable value in all of the other APIs what we are using. Okay, so I'll just write a simple test here, the simple function to do that. Yeah, to set that value in a variable, we can use a ready available here one snippet to assign the value for one variable. Okay, so that is get global variables to get the global variable value, and to set to a global variable, what we'll do is we'll use this snippet, that is this is the which is ready available in Postman, which you can use it in your test. Okay, when you're writing your test. So what we'll do is, the first one is the variable name. What we'll do is, we are passing order ID. Okay, so and we have to pass the ID what we have got from this response. So right now we have got this value in this variable. So what we'll do is we'll take this and we have got this order ID. This is the order ID here, and we have got the value. We are taking this value into this variable, which is a global variable. Okay, and we'll save this. And we'll send the request. So now we'll see whether we have got this. Okay, we have not received the value in this global variable. That is, did we pass it properly? Yes, the response.json. This is the name. I think there was some, this is very case sensitive, so that was wrong, I believe. So we'll do once again. So this is the thing, and yeah, same. Now we have got the order ID in a global variable. So what we'll do is we'll take this variable and put it in the other APIs where we are sending this as a parameter. Okay. Again here to update order. delete the order. Okay, so we have used this, we have assigned this, the result what we're getting from this API, and we are assigning the value to the variable, and we are using this variable in all of the other APIs where we are performing the update delete functionalities there. So we'll save this. Okay, so we can see that whenever you're sending the request, it is creating and the value is getting changed here. Okay, and whenever you are trying to get the order, you're getting the order for that. See, this is the value what we have, and we are getting this. So here, this will help you to avoid manually entering the values into the APIs. Okay, and next is, after writing all these steps, do we have to go and run each and every API to test? We don't have to do that. We have got one feature in the API, in the Postman, that is to run the collection at a time, like to run the all APIs which are related to that collection at a single time. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just close all the tabs. Okay, so how to do that is click on your collection and the three dots. You can see here run collection you have. Okay, click on that, and here you can see all the APIs what you have in your list, which you are using in your project, which you need to test. Okay, so here you can check and uncheck the APIs which you need to test or which you not need to test, and you can also set the order of the APIs like this. By chance, if you have when you're creating the APIs, if your order is misplaced and if you want it to set the order, then you can set the order here. And if you want to save the response, you can save the response and you run the book API. Okay, if you see, all the results are pass. So the first test what we wrote for API, this is pass, this is pass, this is pass, this is pass, and this is pass. Yeah. So this is how you can automatically write your test scripts to test the APIs, so that you can save time when you're testing your API. Okay. And we have got a couple of third-party tools which are available, which you can use to export the value or the result what you get from your test. No? You can take it into that report and you can use it in your application as a reference, or if the test result is passed, or if you want to perform any other functionalities, you can do that using the third-party tools. Okay. Yeah. What are the key takeaways from the session? That is the basic understandings of the API, like what are APIs, and how to use the Postman for testing the APIs, and how to write the tests, which you can run, which you can automate the test by test in Postman. Thank you for listening to the session. Do you have any questions, guys?
Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions?
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I had an amazing time learning all the new things here at SpecBees TechX. And if you did too, do let us know in the comments below. Keep following SpecBee for the latest trends in technology. See you in the next one.